Hey guys, it is Michael from StevensvilleGamers, and welcome to another card review video. There is now day 2 of BlizzCon is over. Time to look at some more Hearthstone cards. Now, there's a total of 16 out of the 135 cards revealed, and we've already revealed, how many did we reveal? We've already reviewed 4 of them, so this video is going to have exactly 12 cards in here. A couple epics. We got a legendary to review as well, but let's start things off with Cannon Barrage. It is a 6 mana epic rogue spell, as you can see by the picture, but it is deal 3 damage to a random enemy, repeat for each of your pirates. There is some pirates in standard right now, but I don't really think that there is much build around for pirates right now, so I would be interested to see if they decide to, you know, do something with pirates. I was not around, but I do know that Pirate Warrior did exist at one time, so maybe we're looking at Pirate Rogue. I mean, Pirate Rogue also already kind of existed because, you know, Patches was around and all of that kind of stuff, so Pirate Rogue was kind of a thing. Kind of new to the whole Hearthstone thing. Started really playing seriously. Cobalts and Catacombs came out, so some of the other sets I know and I'm familiar with the cards, but not exactly playing in the meta. So just keep that in mind when I review stuff. But anyway, Cannon Barrage, I think it'd be interesting. We already saw Shark Fin, which is pirate synergy for stuff like that, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and give Cannon Barrage, you know, everyone's doing this, but out of 5 stars, I would give Cannon Barrage probably a 2 stars, but if there's pirate synergy for Rogue, I think it'll easily go up to 4 stars, because if you have 4 or 5 pirates on the board as a Rogue, you have 6 mana, deal 3 damage to random enemies. That'll deal some substantial amount of damage, you know? Even though it is turn 6, a lot of small things, you know, still can come out at turn 6. I'm thinking your opponent kind of gets a board on Odd Rogue, and not Odd Rogue, Odd Paladin, gets a bunch of Silverhand recruits, plays down level up. It's your turn, you have the coin, you went first, you got 6 mana, or it's already like turn 7 when they do that. So you drop the Cannon Barrage because you got some pirates on the board, and boom, their level up is totally useless. Just, I think overall right now 2 stars, but I think it could easily go up to a 4 or 5 if there is more pirate synergy that gets revealed as we go. So the next card I'm going to talk about is one of the mage legendary cards. It is Hex Lord Malek. 8 mana 5/5, very poorly statted, very, you know, kind of bad stats, but interestingly enough, its battle cry is add a copy of your opening hand to your hand, except for this card if you opened with it, which is interesting. I can't think of a card that has ever done this sort of thing before, at least in my short-lived time of playing the game. I'm sure possibly in Goblins and Gnomes or Grand Tournament, or, you know, those sets that have since rotated out of standard, and I did not play in those times. I'm sure that possibly something like this could have existed then, but I am unaware of it. So this is interesting and new to me. So interesting and new though, I don't know if it's good. So basically, it's kind of like an Ungoro pack, but you have control over the Ungoro pack. So if you're in a control deck, like a control mage, then you could possibly keep some really good cards in your hand, and you know that you're guaranteed those really good cards when you play the Hex Lord Malek. But you also have to keep in mind it's 8 mana, and those really good cards in a control mage probably aren't going to cost just 2 mana. So you have to think this is a fairly weak body for very weak body, let's be honest, for 8 mana, and then next turn you get all of your very good cards and you're probably averaging about 3.5 cards, because you either go first or second, so that's 3 or 4, averaging, 3.5 cards. So it's like a controlled 3.5 card Ungoro pack, but I don't know if Elise is good to compare it to or not really, because your opponent does see the things that you play in your opening hand, and they can keep track of that, so they know when you drop, or if you drop Malek, you will get those specific cards, so they understand that. So there's a lot of like high level thinking, got to do a lot of high level thinking there to sort of, figure out on the opponent's end what their starting hand is, and understand that they will get that stuff again potentially. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with it. I don't think it's that good though, to be totally honest. Again, I think I'm going with 2 stars. So next we have another mage card. This is Pyromaniac, 3 mana, 3/4. That's a body and a half in my opinion. Like, that is a very good amount of stats for a 3-drop at rare. Not bad. And whenever your hero power kills a minion, draw a card. Couple things off of this. Jaina is already trying to ping things with her ability to get, so you would get a card, and you would get your elemental on the board, your water elemental on the board, if you have Jaina's hero power, or it's just value in the early game, saying you play something on turn 3, you swing something you already have, ping something else, you draw the card. So it basically replaces the card that it replaces itself, it cycles if you're going to ping something that turn, but then you would have to be on turn 5 and not turn 3 because you would need the mana to ping it. So this is interesting. I've also seen some people say this is a 3-drop, and the cat is also a 3-drop, so that has the draw a card if it's all odd. If your deck has only odd cards, you get to draw a card as a battle cry, and the spell damage cat, that's also a 3-drop, so an upgraded mage hero power will do 2 damage instead of 1. You get Pyromaniac, you get the draw off of that. Also, if you think about it, Astromancer and the other one, the 2 cards in mage that are already kind of hand reliant are also odd, so you could maybe do something like an odd hand mage based on like good draw power off of that, and you would also get the upgraded hero power. But I don't know if that would really, I don't know if there's enough good cards in rogue, or in, I don't know why I keep saying rogue. I don't think there is enough good cards in mage to be able to make a like odd hand mage work. That's just what I'm thinking right now. There's plenty of value with just playing Pyromaniac, I feel, and because of that, I think we're going with 3 stars. So the next one is a 6 mana shaman spell, Rain of Toads. It's at common, and we're summoning 3/4 taunts of toads with taunt, and we overload 3 mana. I've heard people compare it to 2 different things. Some people comparing it to Spreading Plague, which I disagree with, mostly because I saw Trump actually said, not our president, YouTuber Trump said it's more like a Phantom Militia, and I would have to agree with him. Phantom Militia, for 9 mana, you get 3 2/4s, but you get to proactively play this as well. So on turn 6, if you don't really have much to do, you could drop Rain of Toads. It fits in with Even Shaman because it's a 6-drop. I'm not sure if Even Shaman would want to run it. And they're 2/4 taunts. Something with 4 health isn't super easy to get rid of. You gotta work a little bit to get through 3 of these 4 health minions. But it's also late in the game, and the overload is ridiculous. You have 3 overload, you overload 3, which is kind of crazy, but also has a little bit of synergy with some of the stuff in the last set, like Thunderstorm. You also get Reign of Toads. Next turn you can Storm. So if the Toads, you're guaranteed 3 legendaries if you want to go Toads into Storm. Because the 4 health is a little bit difficult to get rid of. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to have to go with a 3. I'm going to say a 3-star right now. Just because on turn 6 you get 3 minions, kind of difficult to get rid of. Or in the late game you drop this and you protect yourself for an extra turn or so potentially. I think there's enough stuff in here that's pretty good, and I know some card reviewers were kind of joking around saying like, ha ha ha, we're always wrong when it comes to taunt stuff. We always underestimate how good taunt stuff can be. So with that in mind as well, again, I'm saying 3 stars for the Reign of Toads. So next we have a 5 mana hunter spell. It is Baited Arrow at the common slot, common for hunter. It's a spell that deals 3 damage and overkill summon a 5/5 Devil Sword. Now, overkill, if you don't know, is the mechanic that if you deal more damage than you have to a minion to kill it, in this case you would be killing something with either 1 or 2 health, then you can get a 5/5 Devil Sword. I think that this card will be pretty good. It is 5 mana, which is 1 more mana than Flanking Strike. This does the same amount of damage as Flanking Strike, but it can do the damage to anything. So if you draw this and you're like 1 away, or you're like 2 away or 3 away from lethal, you can swing it at a face. If you're going super aggro hunter, or if you're going aggro hunter, this might be the top of your curve, and not the top of your curve, but towards the top of your curve, then go into Savannah Highmane. Basically, using this to try to get through their weaker taunts on turn 5 to swing for game. And then you also get the 5/5 Devil Sword, or you're just destroying taunts, or you're doing damage to your opponent's face. It's also a odd card, so it can go into Odd Hunter, which is even more aggressive for them. The 3 damage hero power, the 3 damage Baited Arrow, and if you play your cards right, you get the 5/5 Devil Sword on top of it. I think Baited Arrow is gonna be a really good card. I've kind of heard people basically just say like, yeah, this is a good card, but I think people are gonna be surprised. I could be wrong, but I like to consider myself a hunter player at heart. I haven't been playing much Death Rattle Hunter, but still like Hunter, and I think Baited Arrow deserves 4 stars. I think Baited Arrow is gonna be really good. So next we have Spring Paw. It's a 1/1 with Rush, and we get a 1/1 Lynx with Rush to our hand, which I am assuming is also a 1 mana card. It's at the common slot, and it's for Hunter again. First thing that comes to my mind is the cat that makes another cat. The 2 1/1s for 1 mana, which was incredibly good. I really liked that card. Personally, when that was in Standard, I played for a little bit when that card was still in Standard, and I loved it in my Beast Hunter deck, because it was a 1-drop that gave me another 1-drop, and I forget what it's called, I feel bad. But the 4 mana 4/4 give the Beast +2 in taunt. That guy, I would do that. There's just a lot of stuff that card did. But this now, instead of bringing it to, the battlefield, it gives it to you in your hand, which I think is good because it has Rush. So you can decide when you want to rush it down. So Spring Paw, if you're going second, can get rid of one of their 1-drops potentially. If you're going first, it just kind of sits there. And it gives you the beast triggers, and it also gives you a 1/1 thing with Rush to use at a later date, whether that be immediately or not. And I think that's more important, honestly, because of the beast trigger. If you have a potential, I'm assuming it's 1 mana, but it's a 1 mana minion that will trigger your beast effects when you need to play your beast and then swing out with Mark of the Hunter, like double Mark of the Hunter. This is a cheap way to get that out. And I do realize that, you know, Dire Mole, there's a lot of 1-drop beasts. There's Dire Mole, there's the Boar, with its charge instead of rush. There's a lot of other things that can do this, and it's also, so it's competing for Dire Mole slots if you want to use it for that. It's competing with Devil Soars, the hatchlings. It's competing with Firefly right now as well, which adds a 1/2 instead of the 2/1, but this one has rush. I don't know. There's a lot of things that, you know, I think this card is decent enough to where it might be played around with a little bit, but I don't think that it's going to see too much. But it could potentially get better when things like Dire Mole rotate out, or the hatchlings will rotate out after this set comes out, when Ungoro, Frozen Thrones, and Kobolds and Catacombs all leave. They will be leaving here in 2019, so that potentially could, you know, be pretty helpful. So right now I'm giving it 2-star, but when those things rotate out, I think it potentially could go up to 3 because it could fill some slots. But for right now, 2 stars. So here we have a Druid 2 mana card. It is Savage Striker common. It is a 2/3. Again, pretty decent stats for a 2-drop. And this is in Savage Striker. Well, this is in Druid. Battlecry, deal damage to an enemy minion equal to your hero's attack. Druid, we don't really see too much swinging with the face, unless you're gonna go the big guy Malfurion. You might go Malfurion into 3 attack, drop a Strider, deal 3 damage to something, or it's a 2 mana deal 1 damage if you have the normal hero power, or if you have, well, you wouldn't have odd, this couldn't be an odd Druid. I was gonna say if you have odd Druid, then you could have the +2 armor, +2 attack, but even, so it won't be going in there. So I think this is interesting though. Dealing damage to your minions, dealing damage to a minion equal to your hero's attack doesn't seem that great in Druid. We'll have to see what else comes out with it. I think what other stuff comes in the set. If Druid is going to be a type of hero that wants to attack with face in this new expansion, then that could potentially, you know, this could potentially get interesting. There are cards that already buff your hero's attack, but I don't think that this card is good enough to run some of those other ones like Claw and Gnaw and Gash. I'm making up names now, but some of those like low drop spells that give your hero +1 attack and then you hero power. I don't think those things are good enough to run just for Strider. Or Striker, not Strider. So for right now, I would have to say 2 stars as well. Not super good, not the greatest as we see it now, but because this is sort of like a rumble tumble sort of, like it's like a gauntlet sort of deal, then potentially it would make sense for like the minions to, or the heroes to attack more because of just the style and like the flavor of the set. So Striker could be good if that's kind of what they're going for, like a lot of heroes attacking, you know. But for right now, 2 stars. We'll have to see what else comes out in the set. Oh boy, here we have a 8 mana Warlock spell at the epic slot. It is called Void Contract, and it is destroy half of each player's deck. Wow. you're sacrificing half of your deck. Like, half of your deck is just gone. Like, I would understand if you were playing something like a control sort of list, or if you're playing Mechathune. Like, if you draw the cards to Mechathune that you need, like if you draw both your Galvanizers, and you draw your Blood Bloom, and you draw your Cataclysm, and then you Void Contract to get rid of half of your deck to make your stuff go faster, to make their stuff ruined. A lot of people are saying that this is a combo breaker, then it would take the place of, people are saying Demonic Project, but Demonic Project hits something that's already in your opponent's hand. And then people are saying, well, it's like Gnome Feratu, and I'm saying, sure, it could be Gnome Feratu, right? We Gnome Feratu, and we see it in highlight reels all the time, like Gnome Feratu, the Shutterwalk, Gnome Feratu, the Malagos, Gnome Feratu, the Aviana, all these sort of combo decks, Gnome Feratu, the Mechathune, like all these sort of combo stuff, and like combo disruptors and all of that kind of stuff, they already exist in Warlock. Like, you can just play 2 Gnome Feratu, 2 Demonic Project, and 2 Sacred, and 2 packs of the 0 cost pack that kills a demon, because your opponent now has a demon. You could just play that stuff and not sacrifice half of your deck. I really don't think that this card is gonna even be playable. I really don't, and it's interesting. It's interesting because it's real disruption. It's real crazy. Like, boom, you blow it up, half the cards are gone. And by the time you play this, it's turn 8. You would have started with either 3 or 4 cards, and you would have drawn 8. So that is 12 cards or 13 cards deep, right? So 8. So you have 8, 9, 10, 11. No, you're either 11 or 12 cards deep. So that means you have 19 or 18 cards left divided by 2. You're dealing with 9 to 9.5. You're going to be getting rid of about 9 to 9.5 cards of each player's deck, unless they're drawing more or unless they're adding more cards. I just don't think this is good enough. There's a lot of stuff in Warlock that already does what this does, and it's like taking a pistol with Gnome Feratu and just being like, bang, bang, there's 2 things that you can't use, and if I hit one of your combo pieces, it's amazing. But if I Demonic Project something in your hand, and it's part of your combo, it's ruined. It's like very precise and very controlled. This is like just throwing a grenade in there and just being like, so it's throwing a grenade into your opponent's shelter and then lighting a grenade in your own shelter and just seeing what happens. I don't think that this card is good enough to be played, and I could be totally wrong, because Trump, I believe, said basically along the lines of, look, isn't it cool when we hit the Shutterwalk with the Gnome Feratu? Well, guess what? There's about 7 different combo pieces gone. And I think what scares me about this, I think what really scares me about this overall is just the fact that you're getting rid of your opponent's resources and you're ruining your opponent's combo deck, correct? But you're also completely sabotaging your own stash of stuff. Like, this is like your secret treasure chest of cards that you're gonna use to win the game, and let me just tear up half of them, and I can't use them anymore. And then we'll just both play with these sort of bad things. It's like the Priest legendary that shuffles a copy of your opponent's deck into your deck or something like that. I mean, it's not exactly the same, but it's also like, cool, I get some of my opponent's cards, but why do I want my opponent's cards? Like, I also think that card isn't super great. I I don't like touching my own stuff, you know? Even demonic projects sometimes feels bad in some situations. But, you know, that was a lot on this card, but there's just a lot that I, you know, want to say about this one. And overall, 1 star. Void Contract, 1 star. Whoo boy. This is a 2-mana Paladin minion, Immortal Prelate. It's an epic. It is a Death Rattle minion. Shuffle this into your deck and it keeps all of its enhancements. It is a 1/3. It's basically a minion version of Kingsbane, and I think that it is amazing. Absolutely fantastic. Quest Paladin, you buff this with a bunch of buffs, and you just keep, whenever it dies, you just keep shuffling it back into your deck, even though it just has buffs over and over again. I think until, I'm saying this right now, until April, when the quests rotate out of standard, Quest Paladin will be a tier 1 or tier 2 deck again. It is so good. There's so much value. There's just so much value. And I will go over the rebuttal here in a second, because I understand what some people are saying. Alright? Listen, you're saying as soon as this card gets printed, not printed, as soon as Quest Paladin becomes a tier 1 deck, and this card is the reason for the tier 1 deck, then everyone will run 2 Ironbeak out and 2 Spellbreaker. Which, fine. You can run Silence. I understand that you want to get rid of the Immortal Prelate, or however you pronounce it. But let's think of this, right? We have already seen the legendary boy for Paladin. It's the big old tiger girl. And the more spells you cast, the cheaper she gets. So you have one of those that you can silence because it has Rush, Lifesteal, and Divine Shield, I believe. Like, you could potentially silence that if you wanted to, but I don't think people will waste I do not think people will waste the silence on that, so we're not going to count it. Let's move on to the next thing. That in this set, this card right here, Immortal Prelate, you will run 2 of these most likely. You will run this one and another one. So that's 2 things that you will have to silence, which is fine. There's your 2 Ironbeak Owls gone. Then once you get the quest off, you have a Galvadon. You will then have to silence the Galvadon, which is fine. You know, Galvadon, whatever. Silence the Galvadon. Most people are gonna Galvadon and then Zola the Galvadon. And when you Zola the Galvadon, there's another Galvadon that you will have to silence. So there's already your 4 silences, and we haven't even gotten into the Lanessa. You're gonna play Lanessa in Quest Paladin. I do not see why you would not run a Lanessa in the Quest Paladin. So there's another thing that you're going to have to silence or assassinate. Like, it's just, there's so much reoccurring value that you can run 4 silence and still something will get played or something will get dropped. You know what I mean? There's so much value with this card now added. I think there's going to be just so much value for Paladin, and especially Quest Paladin, to be playing these buff spells after buff spells after buff spells. Make the tiger cost less. Make these prelates. I don't know how you say this. Prelate. I'm just going to say it like that. Prelate. Making these prelates super big, shuffling them into your deck. You will have to silence them if you want to live. And then as you're playing all of these buffs on the prelates, shuffling them back into your deck, making your opponent silence it, and you have the tiger being cost less. You have the threat of a Galvadon and potentially a Galvadon Zola in the workings, and because you're playing all the buff spells, you also have the Lanessa here in the background, which you have to use a silence on eventually. Like, there's so much value going on all at the same time for Quest Paladin that I think that Quest Paladin is going to be absolutely amazing. I really do think so. And I do understand thinking now there's stuff in Rogue with Assassinate, there's Priest, which has the two extra silence cards. So you have Silence, Beak, or Owl, Spellbreaker, Spellbreaker. That's 6 silences right there, which is ridiculous if you're going to make somebody use 6 of their 30 slots for silences. That's crazy. And there's also Rogue stuff, which Assassinate. I think I already said Assassinate. There's Twisting Nethers. There's a bunch of removal stuff. You are correct, but the only way to get rid of these prelates is silences. So I think people will use the silences on the prelates and then use like your Assassinates, your Twisting Nethers, your other stuff on like the Tigers and the Galvadons and the Lanessas. I think I'm giving Palette 4 stars. I think she is really, or maybe it's a dude. I think it's a dude actually. I'm giving him 4 stars. I think this is really good. Shurinder of Shurinder. I don't know how to say this word. Shurinder. This isn't a word. Shurinder to Madness. It's not a word. I don't care. I don't know how to say it. It's a 3 mana epic spell for Priest. Destroy 3 of your mana crystals. Give all minions in your deck +2/+2. A lot of people are saying that this is bad. And I'm gonna have to agree with them. To be totally honest, if you're gonna want to play it on turn 3, right? You want to, like Kaliseth, you want to get it out as quick as you possibly can, right? You want to get it out super quick, which basically means you're gonna lose 3 mana on turn 3. So then you're back down to 1, and you're now 3 mana behind. That's more than like. Imagine playing against like a biology project into wild growth into nourish sort of situation. Like that sucks. You don't want to play against it. Even though you get 2 mana, your opponent then goes up 3. Like you're mana screwing yourself on turn 3. So while your opponent is playing 4 drops, you could be potentially playing buffing up 1 drops. But like you're 3 mana behind the rest of the game, while your opponent's playing 10 drops, you're on 7 drops. And if you want to play 2 of these, which God, why would you want to play 2 of these? You're gonna then be 6 mana behind, because you're gonna want to play again. You want to play these as soon as you can, like a Kaliseth sort of deal. And turn 3, booms. Madness. My next time I hit turn 3, boom, madness. Look at all of the stuff that I madness. So now my creatures have +4/+4. But I'm also behind 6 mana crystals. So while my opponent's playing 10 drops, I'm playing 4 drops. Like it's not gonna work. There's no way that's gonna ever work. Like that's terrible. Like there's no way. I do not, unless you're gonna like. Some people said Shadow Visions as well, so you play 4 of them. Now you're behind 12 mana crystals, which isn't even possible. Like, because you want to play these as quick as you can, right? Because you want to play these quickly to try to get the buffs on as many minions as you possibly can, so then it's worth it. You're sacrificing your early game completely. And if this was like a control meta, and whatever, I lose 3 mana crystals, it doesn't matter. We're both going to be starting to play stuff around turn 5. Or turn 6 when we have 6 or 5 mana anyway, then sure. Or it's a control thing. I'm basing around, it's a reactionary deck where I'm using my minions to destroy my opponent's stuff. It's a control deck. As a control player, I don't know how to, as a not control player, as an aggro player, I don't know how to explain it. But like in a control deck, I guess it would make sense in a control meta, because you are playing control v control, so you're both not going to be playing a whole lot in their early game, but still you want to be able to do something. And if you wait till turn 3 to then play Madness, you lose. You're behind 3 mana crystals. I don't think that this card is worth an epic spot. First of all, like, it's spicy, like it's real spicy. But and I like bad cards. I like meme decks, but this is just bad. The 1 star. I think this is just bad. Alright, so we got another legendary. We have Hyric the Bat. I think so, in conjunction with the spirits and the Alola, or whatever they're called. The Alola, I mean, that's the Pokemon region, the Alola region. Or Lola, whatever. I think it's just Lola. Yeah, Alola's the Pokemon region. Whoops, getting my games mixed up. But Lola. So this is the Lola for the Warlock. It's the Lola, and the spirit things go hand in hand because it's the spirit of. Well, we haven't seen it, but the spirit of the tiger. There's probably gonna be a spirit of the tiger. There's probably gonna be a shark boy. There's a bunch of stuff, and I'll show you why in a second. It's off track. But anyway, legendary. It's a 1/1 8-drop. Fill your board with copies of this minion. Why does Warlock want to just make copies of stuff? We have Doubling Imp, we have Omega Defender, and now we have the Bat. Why? I mean, it's okay, I guess. You can fill your boards with 7 1/1s, which is pretty bad for 8 mana. Because for 8 mana you can get a Violet Worm, and you get an 8/8, and then when it dies, or is it a 7/7? I think it's a 7/7. You get a 7/7, and then when it dies, you get 7 more damage, which is pretty good. Violet Worm is not bad, especially in like Arena, pretty good. But this is different, And a lot of people are saying, well, there's Soul Infusion, you can Keleseth it, there's a lot of stuff here. There's some stuff that's going on. You could try to get, if there's more synergy with the whole like hand buff Warlock. Instead of like hand buff Paladin, we have hand buff Warlock. So could that be a thing? Giving your Doubling Imps, giving your Bats crazy amounts of stuff, and then you throw that down and you have a board full of like 4/4s or 5/5s, and then you have the Omega Defender. On turn 13 or 14, you have the Omega Defenders, and you get a bunch of 4/5s as well. Like, if more stuff comes out to where you can be able to regularly and consistently buff the Bat, I think it could be good. But for right now, I'm saying the Bat is 2 stars. If more synergy comes out for like a hand buff Warlock situation, I think that could be interesting, and this could easily go from a 2 to a 5. If you could fill your board with like 7/7s easily and consistently because of the synergies that come out in this set and some of the stuff from the old sets, like the Soul Infusion, the only thing I think of right now, but like stuff like that, like if that works and you can Soul Infuse the Bat, if you can make your Doubling Imps giant, if you can make your Omega Defenders even big, or not Omega Defender, Omega Agent, that's what it's called, not Omega Defender, Omega Agent. If you can buff your Omega Agents, then I think this could even easily go from like a 2-star, which I'm saying right now is a 2-star, to like a 5-star easily if there's more hand buff Warlock synergies, which I know Fred really enjoyed hand buff Paladin. So could they potentially create hand buff Warlock? I don't think that's really in their, sort of flavor, but you never know. But right now the Bat gets 2 stars. So, Spirit of the Bat, which is the 2-mana Warlock minion. It is the Warlock Spirit, which is something that is in each class is going to get one of these, and all of them have the stealth for 1 turn. Again, lots of people are saying that this is not a battle cry. No matter what happens, as soon as this hits the board, you get stealth. No matter what, you discover it, you get it out of your deck, you play it from your hand, you resurrect it somehow. No matter what, stealth for 1 turn. You get 1 turn of stealth, and that's it. No matter what. So that's important to keep in mind when thinking about this stuff. So basically, after a friendly minion dives, give a minion in your hand +1/+1. Like I was saying, we have Spirit of the Bat and we have Soul Infusion right now, which is not bad. Spirit of the Bat is an interesting card though, because it's a 2-drop that you're definitely not going to play on turn 2. Let's be honest. You're going to fill your board with minions, and then you're going to drop Spirit of the Bat, like boom, Spirit of the Bat, here's a bunch of stuff. I'm going to trade into all of your minions and give my hand minions a whole bunch of 1+1+1s. It's not a turn 2 play. So in that case, it's interesting because it's going to take the spot of, it's going to take the spot of a 2-drop, but it's not really going to be an on-curve 2-drop, which is kind of interesting in itself. Also, this will compete with Keleseth, so take that as what you will. You want to remove Keleseth for this? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Because Keleseth right now gives everything in your deck +2/+2, which immediately, immediately makes the bat a 3/3. For the bats, for the spirit of the bat, potentially could make this, make the bat I don't even know, like a 5/5, but not consistently. I think the consistency of Keleseth will outmatch the value of Spirit of the Bat until Keleseth rotates out. Once Keleseth rotates out, then potentially Spirit of the Bat can find a place and it can come in and it will take the place of Keleseth, because I'm hoping that there will be more reliable and more consistent Warlock hand buffing stuff to make the bat good. But if there's not, I think Keleseth will stay in, and I think Zoolock will still reign supreme, running the doubling imps instead of the bat, or not running the bat at all, and just continuing to use the already existing list of Keleseth Zoo Warlock until Keleseth rotates. That being said, I'm giving Spirit of the Bat 2 stars for right now, same as the bat itself. Again, could go up to maybe 3.5 stars. I'll give it a little kind of maybe 3.5, 4 stars if once Keleseth rotates out and buff Warlock is a thing, then potentially Spirit of the Bat could take Keleseth's spot. So there's that. And Spirit of the Shark I already reviewed in my reaction video. So that is it. Please, if you guys enjoyed, leave a like and a comment down below. I really am curious what you guys think about these 12 cards that have been revealed at BlizzCon. I really am. I'm honestly super curious to figure out what you guys think of this. If you guys think my predictions are totally wrong, tell me, and tell me why. If you guys think that my predictions are right, tell me and boost my ego. But yeah, again, I don't think I've said it this episode. I don't know why I'm saying it again. But make sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Hopefully it works. I don't know if it does, to be totally honest. But I stream on Friday and Saturdays. I stream Hearthstone and I stream Pokemon mostly. So come on over and check it out. But if you're not into that, that's totally fine. I will be posting more content on the Rastakhan's Rumble as stuff comes out. So Rastakhan's Rumble, will be coming soon here in the next month or so. So this month is going to be absolutely littered with release videos, card review videos. So if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe, stay tuned, because I'm telling you, there is a lot of stuff coming your way on this channel due to this new set coming out, and I am super excited. So hit the subscribe button. If you liked, please leave a like down there below. But other than that, Michael from StevensvilleGamers is going to be signing off now, so please make sure you guys keep the yeah spirit with you, because Michael from StevensvilleGamers is going to be signing off now. So 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah. Bye.